Hello and welcome to your weekly in-depth horoscope for week commencing the 3rd of February for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you're new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you'd subscribe. This week begins with Mercury gliding into the sign of Pisces, the 12th sign of the Zodiac, and one which is very much to do with introspection. Mercury, of course, is to do with communication, but in this particular sector, it is in essence in detriment. So it's not its best transit, and this can lead to some sluggish communication, not unlike a retrograde, which ironically is going to start to happen later this month. So we need to work at our communications. But actually, Mercury does forge a beautiful link with Uranus this week. So if there is a hunch that we get, which comes from Pisces, and it is about our resources, it's possible, especially if it's something new or different or fresh, that it could work out splendidly well. Now, Neptune and Jupiter are the two rulers of the sign of Pisces, and they're collaborating beautifully this week. So if we can find ways to connect with people in a more sensory way, use a degree of intuition, I do feel it's possible that this can be good even in business scenarios too. Now, Venus also starts this week in the sign of Pisces, so there's a lot of energy in this sign. But by the end of the week, by Friday, Venus moves into the sign of Aries, where technically it's in full, so another not necessarily best location. But actually, Venus in Aries, I think, can be really quite sparkling and effervescent. It gives us the push to take the initiative around our relationships, especially if we're single, and also it embraces the energy of the wounded healer Chiron almost immediately. So if there is a relationship which is suffering a little bit, I do feel this and the full moon, which occurs on Sunday, is an ideal opportunity to try to get things working more sweetly. Now, whether this is in a romantic scenario or friendship or with a colleague, it doesn't really matter. You can use this full moon to your advantage. The key here is the Leo full moon is very much about balancing what we need to do for ourselves as individuals and also what's good for the collective, which comes from the energy of Aquarius. And that energy is also jarred right through this week by the quarter moon, which occurred right at the end of last week and provides a backdrop for the whole of this one. So I think we could find ourselves in a situation where our values, whether it's around our outlook to life or more about physical, financial approaches, may be an area where we experience some kind of pinch point with another person. But the full moon can tease all of this out into the open, and with Venus moving into this area, that's really saying to us, look, try to find solutions by taking the initiative. Your specific forecast, Leo, sees on Monday Mercury, the planet of communication, move into the deep and penetrative 8th house of your situation. This can give you a real lust to find out what makes things really tick, and perhaps even around people. But this links with Uranus, the planet of surprises, which is in a much more visible part of your situation. If you're an entrepreneurial lion, this can be a great time to think outside the box and embrace more novel approaches. But also your ruler, the Sun, forges a great semi-sextile with Jupiter in the first half of this week. Jupiter's in the part of your situation to do with sacrifice, work, where you look after yourself in terms of your own resources and health and fitness. And I think if you're lucky enough to have a friend that you can collaborate with the Sun in your sector of partnerships, this would be a fine time to work closely with someone else. However, it is true that Venus on Friday moves into your sister fire sign of Aries, immediately embracing the wounded healer, which is Chiron. If you are wanting to break out in your situation in some way, particularly if the collection of energy in your 6th house, which has been very much to do with of service, and responsibilities and obligations, this really pushes you to be a bit more experimental. If you're single, it may see relationships come very sharply into focus, particularly with the full moon in your sign of Sunday. This would be a great time to take your needs, but also understand those of others much more seriously. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you'd like to elevate your knowledge above your zodiac sign and embrace serious astrology, please see the link beneath this video. You can order your 12-month forecast and character analysis based on your time, date and place of birth and get 30% off. Or you can choose to have a one-to-one consultation with me. But for now, good luck and goodbye.